The word selfies was officially added to the dictionary in 2013. And of course, it refers to a photo that someone takes of themselves to share through social media. Well, before there were selfies, there were self-portraits. So let's merge the two into one project today. I'm going to start by demonstrating an easy and highly effective way to make a portrait, then place it over an interesting background, the very place I'd most like to be taking a selfie from. First, you're going to need a head and shoulders shot. Take it in front of a blank wall or a piece of poster board just to make it easier to work with. This is a great way to work with technology, using a tablet or a phone cam. Now, I could put a piece of film directly over the top of the image on the tablet and trace it. Marker is not going to bleed through, but since this isn't really my iPad, I think I'll use a print instead. I just happen to have one printed out. Now the portrait itself should fill the lower left-hand corner of the piece of acetate. So position it with plenty of negative space up here in the top section. That's where your scene is going to be. Just to be on the safe side, tape both the image and the film down to your work surface, and that way it won't move around while you're trying to draw it. We'll be using a permanent black marker first. Let's start with the outline of the hair. Next, draw the outline of your face, starting with the eyes. Find the upper and lower lids and trace that line. Now we know that pupils are circles, but chances are they're partially hidden behind the eyelids, so just draw two curved lines to define them. Now let's move on to the nose. A few simple lines to make the shape. Like so. And the mouth, start in the corners. They're usually the darkest. Then join them with the lower lip and with the upper lip. If your mouth is closed, of course, that's the same line. And then just a couple light lines to indicate top lip and lower lip. When it comes to teeth, it's really better to just draw a few lines rather than every single tooth. So here's one that I have done some detail work to. I'll turn the film over, and on the side away from the marker, I'm going to use some sandpaper to roughen up the portrait. Sandpaper is a little hard to grasp. What I find works very easy is to take a jar and cut a circle of sandpaper. I attach this with some high-tech double-sided tape. You could also use some strong glue. And this makes an instant sander. Now this does a couple of things. Roughening the film up like this, it's going to help the color to stay on, but it's also going to take away the transparency of the film where it's being scratched. Now on the sanded area, we're going to color the portrait. We'll need to use an opaque medium. You can use tempera paint, gouache, opaque watercolor. Now our good friends at Sargent Art were kind enough to supply us with a set of 25 oil pastels. So that's what I'm going to use today. Let's start with the lightest colors, and of course that's going to be white. And we're going to fill the areas of the teeth, the whites of the eyes, the little highlight we talked about. Okay, now let's move on to some skin tones. So I see a bright spot up here on my forehead and some of my cheeks. And then of course going down my nose and a little bit on my chin. And then I'd move to the next darker color. We got a good range of skin tones with this set too. There's a finished portrait, and if you turn it back over to the side with the Sharpie marker, you can see the outlines that I created and then just the color behind it. So on a separate piece of paper, now it's time to create a scene for the selfie. This could be anywhere you would like it to be. The moon, the bottom of the ocean, inside a snow globe, on a beach with a palm tree. Where do you want to be? Where do I want to be? Painting, of course. There's my easel, overlooking the beach and the ocean. Now the lower left portion of my scene is blank, so that my face can go over that area. If it wasn't left blank, or anything that it is going to overlap, because I made it with an opaque color, it will block out the scene underneath and go right over the top. Well, now that my selfie is finished, I could use written or verbal communication to describe to my viewers why I chose this location and express why it's meaningful to me. In this way, I can incorporate those important language and literary skills with the art lesson. Well, if you'd like to have this lesson plan in a PDF format and view the materials list, visit dickblick.com and keyword search selfie. You'll find hundreds more free lesson plans and videos there as well.